Welcome to Figures in History. Join us on a captivating journey through time as we uncover key facts about influential individuals who have shaped our world. In this episode, we will be discussing Susan B. Anthony. Susan B. Anthony was born on February 15, 1820, in Adams, Massachusetts. She was one of 7 children, and her father, Daniel, was a farmer and later a cotton mill owner and operator. He was raised as a Quaker and encouraged his children to be self-disciplined, principled, and committed to causes of social equality and justice. This upbringing had a profound influence on Susan B. Anthony, who would later become a leading figure in the women's suffrage movement, dedicated to obtaining equal rights for women, including the right to vote. Anthony's first exposure to the world of social reform came through her father's involvement in the abolitionist movement, which sought to end slavery in the United States. As a teenager, she was sent to a Quaker boarding school in Philadelphia, where she was further exposed to the ideas of social reform and activism. She became a teacher after leaving school, but her career in education was marked by controversy due to her views on women's rights and equality. In 1851, Anthony met Elizabeth Cady Stanton, a fellow social reformer who would become her lifelong friend and collaborator. Together, they formed a formidable partnership that would lead the women's suffrage movement in the United States. They founded the Women's Loyal National League in 1863, which was the first national women's political organization in the country. The League gathered hundreds of thousands of petitions calling for a constitutional amendment to abolish slavery. Anthony and Stanton also co-founded the American Equal Rights Association in 1866, which sought to secure equal rights for all citizens regardless of race or gender. They argued that the 14th Amendment, which granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including former slaves, should also extend voting rights to women. However, their proposal was rejected, leading to a split in the women's rights movement. Anthony is perhaps best known for her role in the women's suffrage movement. In 1872, she was arrested for voting in the presidential election, a right that women did not have at the time. She was tried and convicted the following year, but she refused to pay the fine, declaring the trial a travesty of justice. This act of civil disobedience brought national attention to the cause of women's suffrage. In 1878, Anthony and Stanton arranged for Congress to be presented with an amendment giving women the right to vote. Known as the Anthony Amendment, it was introduced in the Senate and the House of Representatives every year until it was finally passed by both houses in 1919. It became the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1920, a year after Anthony's death. Anthony was also a strong advocate for women's labor rights. She was involved in the formation of the Working Women's Central Association in 1868, which aimed to improve wages and working conditions for women. She also supported the 8-hour workday and equal pay for equal work, issues that remain relevant even today. In addition to her work for women's rights, Anthony was also a passionate advocate for the temperance movement, which sought to reduce the consumption of alcohol. She saw alcohol as a destructive force in families and marriages, and believed that women's voting rights were necessary to pass temperance laws. However, her involvement in the temperance movement was fraught with challenges, as she faced opposition from both men and women who disagreed with her views. Despite her significant contributions to social reform, Anthony faced considerable criticism and opposition during her lifetime. She was often ridiculed and scorned in the press, and she faced hostility from those who felt threatened by her ideas. However, she remained undeterred, believing in the righteousness of her cause. Her unwavering commitment to women's rights earned her a place in history as one of the most influential women in the United States. Susan B. Anthony died on March 13, 1906, at the age of 86. Her death was widely mourned, and her life and work were celebrated across the country. In recognition of her contributions to the advancement of women's rights, the U.S. Treasury Department put her portrait on $1 coins in 1979, making her the first woman to be so honored. Her legacy continues to inspire and influence the fight for gender equality to this day. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through this figure's fascinating life. If you're passionate about history, don't forget to subscribe to Figures in History for more captivating stories of influential figures from the past. Leave a comment below and let us know which historical figure you'd like to see in future episodes. Your suggestions matter, and together, we can continue exploring the amazing figures that shaped our world. Keep exploring, learning, and shaping a brighter future through understanding the past.